Hi, my name is Joe, and this is my microphone. Peter. I'm sorry to say, but this video is not ready yet. I've been busy and haven't been able to round it off properly, as life threw me some messed up side missions. I know I should probably work on this video a little bit more before I release it, but I've got a deadline, man. Plus, this is a gaming related channel, so it's probably okay to release something before it's finished. Tetris, Mario, Pokemon, The Legend of Zelda, Minecraft and Fortnite. Those are the 4 games that have been released. All very different, but they share one common bond. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that bond is. More research might be required. Things used to be a lot different than they are today. Back in the early days of console gaming, there weren't anything like patches or DLC. I mean, where would you put it? If you bought a game, that would be the version of the game that you got. Whether you liked it or not, you were forced to enjoy the game in the state it was. This reminds me that you should keep your eyes open for the free update coming to this video. It will add loads of new content, I think. In order to avoid missing out on the free update, you should leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's just the polite thing to do. So, what were we talking about? Oh yeah! Sometimes gaming companies should release an updated version of a game's disc, which had patches that fixed some of the game's bugs. But much to our despair, they wouldn't withdraw the old broken copies that were out in the wild. No. So purchasing a game back in the day was like playing roulette with a Russian. The average consumer wouldn't know the difference between a good copy and a bad copy of a game in the wild. So, good luck? In order to avoid embarrassment, gaming companies in the Stone Age were forced to hire or recruit testees in order to help test the game and find any game-breaking bugs that can be fixed before releasing the game. This was quite a miserable experience for the gaming companies, as you paid someone to tell you that your work on a game was shit, or not done yet. Imagine how that feels. Not very good. Although it was never a sure thing that your testees would find all the problems with the game. The testing process was needed to ensure that the product that was released to the public was at the very least playable. Yes, I'm looking at you, Jonathan. Get your shit together. Your mom's worried. Now you guys are making me go off topic, so please keep the distractions to a minimum for the rest of the video. In this part of the video, I'm supposed to explain how I've always wanted to become a testy myself one day. But I didn't have the time to finish it, so yeah, my apologies. So somewhere in our timeline, man decided to combine the powers of the wheel and fire and create the World Wide Web. Such a cool idea. It gave us a new way to get useless information at a much faster rate, or to communicate with people on the other side of the world. Because telephone calls are too impersonal. This was, however, a very bad mistake, as it acted as a catalyst, creating an opportunity for some dumbass people to create a split in our timeline on the 28th of May 2016. The timeline was split into 2, where one timeline was the good timeline and the other timeline was ours. If you don't believe me, you can look it up on Wikipedia. But don't do that. Point away and create a distraction. Look, a distraction. Besides for the timeline split, the creation of the internet also brought many other bad omens with it, such as the rise of digital gaming. We got the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and even the original Xbox, all containing their own hard drives and a way to connect to the interweb. These features have plagued PC gamers for years, but the superior console players never had to deal with this problem. Until now. With consoles adapting to the dirty habits of PC gaming, we got the amazing ability to do so many new things with our consoles, such as downloading our games, installing patches, watching porn, and getting f***ed by the game developers. Dry. It started with a small patch here and there, and was highly praised in the beginning, as a way for developers to fix some of the things they might have overlooked or missed. I mean, Skyrim was a mess when it released, and after loads more work and numerous patches by developers, we've come to accept that those bugs are features instead. You can test the game all you want, but once it hits the masses, there's no knowing what might happen. There are some sick people out there. Watch your back. As time progressed from when I was a kid until now, the amount of testing went down as the number of bugs left in games upon release have increased. We've seen games like any Bethesda game, take your pick, that feels unplayable without a day one patch. As we're approaching the next step in human evolution, and games are getting more complex than ever before, because we're never just satisfied. There are now more places for your ants to hide in your game's code than ever before. Such a shame. I remember playing Fallout New Vegas upon release, and near the beginning of the game, before I had the fast travel feature, I clipped into a mountain after using the VATS feature on a gecko, leaving me stuck in the mountain with nowhere to go. Good going, Bethesda. The game is still one of my favorite games to this day, but I probably wouldn't have given it a second chance if I wasn't such a big Bethesda simp back in the days. These days, I'm not so sure anymore. These days, I feel more and more let down by games on release. Life gets busy sometimes, leaving me with less and less time to enjoy the things that I love, such as These days, whenever a new game gets released, there's always a day one patch, and sometimes even something worse. Like the new Pokemon game. It has become so bad that it now feels that companies are charging you full price for a game to beta test it for them. Despicable. There are some games that I can play over and over again, and then there are those games that I pick up once and never again. It doesn't mean that these games are bad. I mean, if you finish Tetris once, there's no real reason to go back to it. Once you know where all the blocks goes, it feels kind of repetitive. Some games just lose the thing that makes them feel fun, once you know where all the blocks go. Like a quiz game with 100 rounds, but only 42 questions. Some games I'll try once, and if it doesn't click with me or show signs of being fun, I'll drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. This is one reason I'm very skeptical about playing new games. If I play a broken game and I don't enjoy it, I probably won't return to it. But if I wait for the real version of the game to get released, I might appreciate the game much more. The point I'm trying to make is I haven't finished this part yet. All it says is Superhero Fight Club Reloaded sucks and please expand. So let's skip ahead to the next section. The level of acceptance around how unfinished a game can be at release has become sickening. Shame on us. It has gotten to a point where the developers release an unfinished piece of shit that misses major parts of the experience. Games now don't just release in an unfinished broken state. Entire parts of the game are still missing upon release. Modes such as the campaign or single player modes get delayed until a further date, leaving me with an unfinished piece of multiplayer bullshit. What am I supposed to do with these games? Does it look like I have any friends captured at the moment? Who am I supposed to play with until someone falls victim to my bear trap? A way companies have tried to hide how unfinished a game is by releasing free DLC. To add features, modes and items that should have been there from the start. Releasing a bad game that gets better over time is still gonna leave you with a lot of bad street cred. And it's also gonna delay me from purchasing a game until a later stage, until I know that the game is fixed and playable. Someone once said, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is bad forever. No one is completely sure who said that, but my money is on Chuck Norris. But here's the thing, not all new games suffer from this problem. There are some experiences that amaze us from the start, but you know what they say about a few good apples in a box full of bad ones. I'll leave it up to your imagination. After the loss of Harambe and all the disappointing moments with unfinished games, I started to prefer to delay playing games that I want to invest time into until a later stage when they are fixed and the best versions of themselves. And I know that I will be able to enjoy the game to the full extent that the developers of the game wanted me to originally when they came up with the idea, not when they released it. Some games are the worst at launch, but they can turn into something magical, like with No Man's Sky, if they just get the love that they need. To sum it all up, the real reason that I don't